digital media, and I work for Amplify Digital Agency. So we are a full-service digital marketing and advertising agency. So everything from social media, Google Ads, SEO, web development, and more. I'm also a member of the Lafayette Chamber, so I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me. So my presentation is called Managing and Optimizing Your Digital Presence. So what does that mean? So basically, I'm going to cover the two biggest areas of your digital presence, which is social media and Google. So we're going to start with social media. First, just kind of general breakdown of the primary platforms. So we're talking about Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I could talk about TikTok. I'm not going to, just because I figured most businesses here, there's some businesses that really thrive on TikTok, but it's not as widely adaptable yet, so not going to touch on that. But if you want to learn more about TikTok, I can definitely do that. Then I'm going to talk about reach and engagement strategies. So you have your social media, awesome, that's step one. How do you get people to view your posts, to find out about your profile, to learn about what you do on social media? And then how do you turn those people into actual paying clients, into customers? So sort of turning your likes into dollars is sometimes what we say. So how do you actually convert those people who are engaging with your content? And then I'm going to touch on social media ads, which is kind of a whole other game outside of the organic. So we're going to talk about the organic and then talk about the paid ad side. And then basically I'm going to do the same thing with Google. I'm going to talk about your Google business profile, why it's so important, what it is, how to manage it. And then we're going to talk about the organic side. How do you rank highly on Google? How do you rank above your competitors? What are some kind of simple tricks you can do to help out there? And then the paid ad side, right? What are Google ads? When you should use them? What makes sense budget-wise? So let's dive in. Okay, so starting with this platform breakdown. Talking about Facebook, right? How many people have a Facebook business page here? Probably a lot of you, right? Which makes sense. It's the largest social media platform. It's kind of king, everybody knows. 3 billion users. So let's talk a little bit about who is on Facebook. Because I think there's kind of the perception that it's now kind of the older demographic. And while it is the most preferred social media platform for people 45 plus, the largest volume of users are still ages 25 to 34. So if anyone says, oh, younger demographics not on Facebook, it's actually technically not true. Everybody is on Facebook, which is why so many businesses use it. And then the structure for businesses. So I'm going to touch on this a little bit because it's different based on the platform. So if you're new and want to set up a Facebook for your business page, you actually have to set it up through your personal page. So you have to be like a page admin for your business page, which can get a little tricky, and I'll explain a little bit about why that is later. So that's Facebook. Next, we'll touch on Instagram. How many people have an Instagram business page, right? A lot of you as well, which makes sense, especially if your audience is under the age of 45, as 85% of that audience is under the age of 45. So as we talked about, 45 plus, really large numbers on Facebook, younger than 45, definitely Instagram. And it is still the preferred platform for ages 18 to 34. As I mentioned TikTok before, I know there's kind of a perception, some people think, well, all the kind of younger generation now, the 18, the 20-year-olds, they're only on TikTok. That's actually not true. They're still primarily on Instagram. Now that may change as the teen age, right? When you get to like the kind of 13 to 17, TikTok is their primary platform, but 18 plus is still Instagram. I know the structure for creating your business Instagram is a little bit different. You don't need to go through, you don't even need to have a personal Instagram. You can just create a page and then mark it as either personal or business. Now, some people kind of have hybrids of this, especially if you're a little bit where you as yourself is your own brand, like realtors are a good example. Sometimes they'll kind of merge the two. I always advocate for if you have a business that sort of is a part of your person, yourself, right, as your brand, to still have it separate, just because it can get kind of confusing in terms of kind of the messaging and really brand strengthening. I think it's always better to have an independent page for your business. So that's kind of the structure for Instagram. And now LinkedIn. So this is, as assumed, right? All right, does anybody have a LinkedIn business page? Some, okay, a little bit smaller than Instagram and Facebook, which makes sense, especially if you're in like a strictly B2C business. But if you are in B2B, obviously LinkedIn makes a ton of sense because that's where a lot of that networking happens. Age demographics I found really interesting. So 60% of users are between 25 to 34. And then obviously recruitment is a huge part of LinkedIn. Obviously that's where businesses are, that's where they're engaging. And over 100 job applications are submitted every second on LinkedIn, which kind of crazy to think about, but there's so many businesses that really use this as a tool for hiring. So hiring managers, HR, LinkedIn is a huge place for them. And so the structure for LinkedIn is a little bit similar to Facebook in that you have to have a personal LinkedIn page, to then create a business page. So again, if you're in a B2B business, right, want to network with other business owners, whether it's CEOs, hiring managers, LinkedIn is a huge tool there. Any questions so far? I just want to kind of get the air. Yeah.
So is there a charge to do a business Instagram or a business LinkedIn?
Great question. No, it is free to create a page. Anybody can do it, just like anybody can, for free, create your own Facebook page. It is free, yeah.
If you have a lot of followers on your personal account, but it's a hybrid, how would you recommend changing it so that you've separated it out to business and personal?
So that's a good question. I would usually advocate for really, so you already build up that following, letting your followers know, hey, here's this page I'm creating. And I would probably do it a little bit in advance, just let them know, hey, I'm gonna be creating a page, be on the lookout for an announcement, and then kind of, tag your business page, upload it in your stories, hey, for people who really want to focus on whatever it is in your business, follow this page.
Could you make it your business page the primary, and like whatever that original one was, you could make that the business page and just say, hey, I'm taking my personal.
So let's talk after. Let's talk offline, because it's a good question, but it can kind of get a little tricky. But great question. Okay. So now let's talk about reach and engagement strategies. So you have your platforms. How do you get visibility on your pages? People looking at your posts, engaging with your content, right? Like, comment, share, all that fun stuff. So let's talk about it. So Facebook. And so again, a lot of these strategies I'm going to go through, this isn't encompassing everything, but it's just a couple of the primary things that I would look at. So for Facebook, one awesome tool that businesses really benefit utilizing is Facebook groups. I'll give an example. There is this Facebook group that has about 25,000 followers called In and Around Pleasant Hill Food and Drinks. It's all about different restaurants and bars in the area, and for local restaurants, if you join this group under your Facebook page and just kind of promote a little bit about what you offer, right? You don't want to be overly kind of soliciting and every day, hey, come to my restaurant, but just like, hey, local people looking for, some local brews. We just launched this, whatever it is, get a ton of engagement on Facebook groups. So if there's any specific group that's kind of like a subculture of what your business is, definitely be on the lookout for those. Join them, engage with them. It's a great thing to do. If you have a storefront, anybody here have storefront, like you can actually physically walk in, order something, buy something, page check-ins is really big. So if you have an address connected to your page, when people come into your store, encourage, hey, check in on Facebook. Maybe you have a little QR code. So when somebody comes in to visit your place and they check in, then all of their friends will see, Tommy went to Bay Area ball players today. Like just kind of getting that little visibility out is just another kind of neat little trick. Viewing your page analytics. So yeah.
When they check in, is that going on the business page that they check into, or their personal page, or it goes to both?
So it's going to go to the newsfeed to anybody who's friends with them. So it would be on their personal page.
Their page.
Yes, and then anybody who's friends with them would see it. Yeah, good question. And then page analytics. So the whole concept of like, oh, it's not the right time to post, that actually is a real thing. So within your page, you can view analytics that show you when most of your followers are online. So all right, I want to get the most amount of reach out of my post. This is a good time to post.
Can I go back to the other thing?
Yeah.
Do you need their permission to let other people know what they're doing?
Do you need their permission? Well, so as a user, when you decide to check in, you're not checking in a visitor. If you're encouraging, like somebody visits
They're
you.
doing it by choice.
Yes.
Not they're gonna.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not plugging their profile. You're saying, hey, if you'd like to kind of check in on Facebook. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
thank you.
Yep. So video. I'm gonna say video a lot of times today because everybody here probably knows about TikTok. If you don't have TikTok, TikTok changed the game within social media. It really did. Even though it's not like one of the preferred platforms for businesses, really what happened is short form video content became the preferred way that people want to get information. It's created all this engagement. That's why TikTok blew up. So if you can create video, whether it's just simple like, hey, let me kind of talk about my business, here's what I do, upload it, that's really gonna get the most engagement. So if you have the capability and time to utilize video, do it. Okay. So now, Instagram. So I included a couple of screenshots here. This top one is actually from the Lafayette Chamber's Instagram. And then a couple realtors who are members of the Lafayette Chamber. So I'm gonna use these as examples. So the first one, the power of Reels. So these were Reels the Lafayette Chamber, Holly over there, uploaded. I believe this was from like, the Rock the Plaza series. So something very important, you might not be able to see because it's kind of small up here, but you can see this second reel here, got over 6,000 views. So now, Lafayette Chamber has a lot of followers, it does not have 6,000 followers, it is about half of that. So how did twice the amount of people who follow see the video? And that's the power of Reels, because they end up on the Explore page. Just how I talked about TikTok before, how they have something called the For You page, where people are just scrolling through, engage with new content. That's how so many people are utilizing Instagram now. They're on just the Explore page, so it's not their feed of people they follow, it's just seeing people who are recommended based on their algorithm. So they're scrolling through, they're watching video content, and when you land on the Explore page by utilizing hashtags and things like that, you can really get a ton of traction. So video, right? On Instagram, Reels is the best form of video if you have the time and capabilities. There's a bunch of little tricks to get your Reels on the Explore page. I can chat about that later because there's just a ton of different things. So highlights. So if you notice this section here, this is from the Dana Green team, which is a member of the Lafayette Chamber. Highlights, this is the area that goes below your profile where you can basically store all of your stories that you upload. When you upload a story, you can send them here to highlights. Now this is great, especially if you have a business that has multiple offerings. You have a few different products or different services that you really want, to showcase and get traction for. It stores them, so if somebody goes to your Instagram and really quickly they're like, I want to know what houses they're selling. I want to know if I want to work with them. Boom, they can click on sold and they can view through like, oh, okay, this is kind of similar to my property I want to sell. So if you have different services and kind of different reasons, people may be going to your profile, make it easy for them to kind of observe those exact things. Yeah.
But that's for stories only.
Yes, correct. That's for stories.
So any reel doesn't go on to highlights, just the stories.
Correct.
And if you could at some point talk about stories and engagement with stories versus
Yes,
posting reels.
I can a little bit,
Okay.
yeah. We can also chat after just because there's a lot of stuff to chat, but that's a good question. Okay, and so now your Instagram profile. So I'm going to talk a lot about SEO later as it relates to Google. SEO is actually a huge part of your Instagram profile. So something that Teresa here did, which is very smart, is in her title, she has her name, and then she has CA Realtor. What that means, if I'm searching on Instagram, CA Realtor, her profile will probably pop up, or if not at the top, it'll be on the list. And she also has keywords here in her bio, like Contra Costa, Solano, Sonoma. This isn't just for talking about what you do. This basically serves as keywords within the Instagram algorithm in the same way that keywords do on the Google algorithm. Now, this can obviously, I can go a lot more kind of granular in terms of the specifics of this, but that's something that's definitely worth looking at if you're just like, oh, it doesn't really matter what my bio says. It actually does, because it's gonna help you get more traction.
Is that a
Yeah.
personal page or a business?
That is a business page.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's a bio on the business page.
Yes, exactly. I mean, you could do the same thing for your personal page if you wanted more people to just find you, but yeah, basically, it's a good strategy there. Okay, and then post engagement, right? So when somebody's scrolling through, you can like, comment, share, save. All of those engagements are very important, and they change based on the Instagram algorithm. So this is really, fun for me because things are always changing. But currently, what really helps your post get more traction is if somebody saves your post. So as you're scrolling through, right, there's from going from left to right, there's like, comment, share, and then save. If you encourage your followers, save this post, that is gonna help it get more views. So that's a kind of a trick there, and again, can go a lot more specific, but that's just something always be on the lookout for. Hashtags, of course, are really important as somebody can, same way you can search for a business, you can just search up a hashtag. And then every post that has this hashtag will be there. That's another way a lot of people are viewing Instagram. And then co-sponsored posts. If you have maybe a partner organization or business you work with that has a huge following, ask them to do a co-sponsored post. What that'll mean is it posts it from basically both of your Instagram accounts, so you both of your followers will get notified. So if I'm a business that has 1,000 followers and a business that I work closely with and do business with and can create content with has 50,000 followers, that would be an amazing way for you to get more traction because their followers would also be learning about your business. So those are some tools with Instagram. And next, I want to chat about LinkedIn. So it's kind of a little bit more, there aren't as many general tips for LinkedIn reach because it's so specific to your industry, but just a couple things I did want to touch on. The concept of thought leadership is really important on LinkedIn. So if you are following, whether maybe you're with a company, like you're a franchise or whatever it is, your company has a lot of followers, when they post, do what's called a repost. Share it and then write some content on it. Because then what'll happen is people who are following that business page that has a lot of followers and are connected with you or have mutual connections with you will then see what you have to say about it. They'll find out about your profile. And so again, a lot of the engagement for your LinkedIn business page has to come through your LinkedIn personal page, because unlike how on Instagram you can comment on other posts as your business page, you can't do that on LinkedIn. You can only comment as your personal page. So that's just a really good strategy for kind of gaining more views there. There's something new on LinkedIn in the past year or so called collaborative articles. So you might be scrolling through and see something like this. You'll see a question, and then maybe it's somebody you follow or somebody you have mutual connections with will kind of answer this here. When you are scrolling through and you see this where it's like, add your perspective, do it. It's a great way to get more visibility. Basically, you're just putting your name out there to anybody else that has answered this question or has engaged with it. So just kind of another tip, and it's kind of still kind of in that thought leadership category. And what I mean by the next point, strategic engagement, it is, obviously this is really just specific to the industry you're in and who you're partnered with. If you're a real estate agent, absolutely connect and follow with mortgage companies, right? That's a big partner for you. Engage with their content and vice versa. So think about what are industries that are important connections for you and connect with those industries. Follow their LinkedIn page. As your personal LinkedIn page, comment and engage with their material and their posts. So that's some info there. Having some great questions. I think from now on, write down the questions. Let's save them for the end, just because I don't want to run out of time. But awesome questions. Okay, so now we're talking about conversion strategies. You're getting all this engagement. People are interacting with your content. How do you turn them into paying customers? So really, I split this up into the do's and don'ts. So some of the do's, right? Have a call to action. It's great. If you post about a new product, don't just kind of leave it out here. This is my product. If you're interested, comment, message me, right? Put it really in the hands of your followers that, I do have a question. I am interested. Let me engage. Always have that kind of call to action. This next one seems obvious, but I've seen it so many times where business owners will get a message from somebody wanting to buy their product and they just don't regularly look at their messages, or sometimes, they'll just look at they'll be on their personal Facebook page and not on their business page, and sometimes the notification for the message will only go to their personal, will only go to their business page, so the notifications can get kind of lost in translation. So make sure you're checking your messages on your Facebook and Instagram page, because obviously if somebody just wants to reach out to you, just make sure, right? It seems obvious, but it can, we're busy business owners, things can happen, you can forget. Okay, another great strategy for converting your audience, resharing your content. So you have a post, let's say on Instagram, about your new product, and you're very happy for it. People can go to your store, they can buy it online. After you post, share that post in your story. And then if you want to get really effective in converting, add in a link where somebody can either buy the product or maybe a link to a contact page on your website. So this is the thing with Instagram specifically. You can't include a link in your post that somebody can click on, but you can link it in your story. So you have a post about a product, you want people to go to this product page. You can then share that post in your story and create a link, and you can create a custom name for it, something like buy now, where then somebody can click on it and can take them to the page. So again, resharing your posts in stories and in groups as well, right? Some of those Facebook groups, if you're engaged with, you have a product, just share it out directly to that audience as well. So just kind of, you don't want to just let your content sit there, right? You don't want to just continually just push it out as much as possible, but reshare it. A lot of people actually just view Instagram and Facebook by just watching stories. They just click on those circles as they pop up. They don't scroll through the newsfeed as much. So for that audience especially, it's great to kind of get that increased visibility. And then just kind of be creative whenever you can. things on Instagram like giveaways, contests, like a special series. Make people excited to want to view your Instagram. Maybe you have a certain launch about a new product, and every 2 days you're making a post about a new feature, a new category, right? Make it exciting. Make people want to think, I wonder what they're going to post about today. If you're like a realtor, doing an engaging, tour of a house you're walking through, right? And make that maybe every Friday you do that. So then people know, okay, on Friday, so-and-so is going to be posting this. So having that kind of schedule people can go around can be really effective. Some things not to do, right? I thought a little bit about you want to invite people to buy. You want to invite people to learn about your business, but you don't want to solicit. So if somebody just, likes your post, don't go message them and say, hey, I saw you like this product, you can buy it here. So just try not to overly engage with people who might just be, scrolling through and liking your content. It's great that they like it. If somebody comments, hey, I'd like to learn more about this product, absolutely, that's an invitation to start a conversation. So, you don't want to be overly pushy. So another one is don't rely solely on social media as your primary selling tool. So what I mean by that, for a lot of businesses, social media is great at creating awareness and buzz around your services and your products. But for most of us, it's probably not where we can complete a transaction. That might be on our website, or that might be on our store. So don't just kind of, let it sit there and be like, customers magically appear, right? You have to be kind of strategic about, where the social media part is in the process, right? So don't just assume I have great social media, that's where all my customers are gonna come in. It might be where your customers learn about what you do, but then it kind of continues through what we call the marketing funnel, right? You create that awareness and buzz, but then there might be a separate activity that then transfers them over to kind of the purchase side of the funnel. So that's kind of social media conversion. So again, if you guys have any questions, definitely write them down. Hopefully we'll have some time at the end that we can chat through. I just wanna make sure I get through everything here. Okay, so now we are going to talk about social media ads. So, start with Facebook ads. So what are Facebook ads? I'm going to start with. This is not boosting a post. That is something separate, right? You can pay Facebook to just boost a post, which is going to show it to more people. I, 9 times out of 10, don't recommend doing that. I think it's just kind of Facebook stealing your money in terms of bang for your buck. If you really want to invest money into social media, I recommend running through what's called the Meta Ad Manager now. So basically, Facebook ads, Meta ads, whatever you call them, they link through both Facebook and Instagram because they're part of the same company. Now, you don't need to run your content on both. If your audience is really only in that, maybe it's the 18 to 24 demographic, you can choose only to run it on Instagram. Or if your audience is 50 plus, you can choose to only run it on Facebook. But basically, what Facebook ads here, as an example, as you're scrolling through, right, you see the little sponsored right there. That means that it's a paid ad. So somebody uploaded their content, whether it's photo, video, whatever the case is, with a call to action, and they targeted a specific person. So that's an important thing within Facebook ads, right? It's not like you pay for, you run Facebook ads and it just shows to anyone. I mean, you can set it so it does that, but really how Facebook ads work is you target it to a specific location, a specific demographic. There are interests, right? So if somebody likes a bunch of luxury car pages on their Facebook profile, you can target that kind of individual if you own, a luxury car shop. And so again, anything that you have on your Facebook profile, anything that you like, or if you, your email, I know we're gonna go really into data and how, AI and everyone knows everything about us and technology. It's very scary, but it can also help your business a lot. So that's kind of the other side of the coin. So if your email that you use for your Facebook profile subscribes to, like I said, luxury car magazines, that would also put you in the luxury car interest group that businesses can target on Facebook. So this is just another way of you being able to reach your core audience. Does anyone here run Facebook ads for their business or partner with an agency that does? Anybody? A couple people. So it's a very effective platform. That's the reason I ask, if you're a business owner and you really want to sit down and devote all the time to Facebook ads, absolutely, power to you. The reason I say it that way is Facebook ads is not user-friendly. If you're just kind of very new to it, it's very easy to end up spending a lot of money and not really knowing what you're doing or how to get results. And here's another big lesson, guys. If you want to get into Facebook ads, what I see a lot of business owners when I talk to, they're like, Yeah, I tried it. I spent a couple hundred, I spent maybe $200 over 2 months, and I didn't get any results. What really happens when you just kind of dabble in ads, like just a very small amount, is you're basically not investing enough for that Facebook algorithm to do its job. You're not building up enough of an audience so you can be able to really refine who you want to reach. So one of the biggest takeaways, if you take away anything from this, if you want to invest in something like Facebook ads, it's better to really make sure you have a firm budget and can really commit to it rather than just kind of spending a little bit here and there. It's better to just not spend it at all, because that's really one of the ways that Facebook makes a lot of money off ads. Is there's a lot of business owners who just put in kind of $5 a day, and that's just going to hurt you in the long run. Okay, some other things you can do if we're getting really into like the data and specific audiences. You can upload what's called a custom audience. So if you have an email list of 100 of your clients or customers, you can upload them to the Facebook lookalike audience generator. So then it will target thousands of people who have similar traits to what you uploaded in those email addresses. Now, I will specify a lot of these things I'm saying is not true for every industry, right? Especially like if you're in a healthcare related industry, you can't utilize that strategy. If you're in real estate, because of something called the Equal Housing Opportunity Act, you can't just target specific age groups or income levels. You have to be broader than that. So there are some specifics here based on the industry. But in general, those are a lot of the strategies there that could be effective. And one thing I want to touch on as well, it says here landing page or lead form. The idea is really using your Facebook or Instagram business page as a vessel to take somebody to your website or to a lead form. So they can click on this ad here in Jasper's Market, and it can go right to Jasper's Market, their specific page that has this offer that they're talking about. Or they could just be wanting to capture your information and maybe add you to their email database. And it could just pull up a little form right on there that says name, phone number, email, and doesn't even take you to a website. That's another strategy you can utilize. So let's talk about some of these specific strategies and when it makes sense. So a couple things. And there's different campaign types based on what your goals are. So if you have a specific product that you're selling online, e-commerce focused, there is a specific campaign type that's built around finding people who are likely to make purchases. So if you set it to, if you're the kind of person that likes to shop on Facebook or Instagram, right? You're in this group that is, when you click on something, you're likely to make a purchase. If a business is running an e-commerce purchase campaign type, they are likely to be targeted. Now, if you are the kind of person, like me honestly, who just will click on a bunch of online things on Facebook and Instagram, but I never actually buy it, then you would be into a different campaign type called traffic. So if you just wanted to get people to your website, so you're really targeting those people who are going to go to your website, not necessarily the ones who are trying to make a purchase, you kind of be in that funnel. And there's a couple other examples here. If you're a restaurant that wants to increase foot traffic, right? It's a different goal from somebody making a purchase, right? People don't walk into a restaurant and say, hey, I saw your ad on Facebook, right? It would be great for restaurants if they did, but so really what you want in that scenario is just as many people to see your ad, and then eventually, keep it in the back of their minds that maybe they go into your restaurant. So that's called a reach and engagement campaign type. Another example, like I talked about lead forms before, let's say you're a real estate agent and you want to just have as many people in your pipeline. You want some people to call, to email. You might run a lead generation lead form strategy just about your services. If you're interested in buying a home, I'd love to talk to you. Here's where you can put name, phone number, email, things like that. So again, I already talked about some of the considerations. You need to make sure you have a budget, and what that budget is does vary based on industry. There isn't a flat, this is the same budget for everybody. So there's a lot of variance there based on how many advertisers are in that industry. So how many of your competitors are also running Facebook ads. Again, content, you need some kind of engaging photo and video content. You don't just want to put up some blank screen and then here's my ad, go to my website, right? You want people to engage with it. And then being able to take on that full-time management, whether you're running it yourself or partnering with an agency. So, okay. Next, I'm just going to talk about LinkedIn ads quickly. A lot of this is all the same on what I touched on in terms of the business page, having the content, a lead form. The only difference is, right, with Facebook, you target anything on their Facebook profile. With LinkedIn, anything on their LinkedIn profile. So your job history, where you're located, industry, education. If you want to target somebody who has studied at St. Mary's and then worked for 3 years in the mortgage industry, right? You could do that, for example. So similar concept, but just shifting it to LinkedIn. And again, these are really for these B2B industries. That's really where it makes a lot of sense. So let's say, I talked about job applications before. If you have an open application on LinkedIn that maybe people just aren't clicking on, you really need some applicants, there's a specific type of ad called a job posting ad that shows it to people who have the open to network like check mark on their profile and have other activity, like if they've applied to other jobs on LinkedIn, you can target that. Let's say, right, you need to get really specific. Mortgage CEOs is your audience. You can run kind of a sponsored content type of ad, like on Facebook and Instagram, just to that audience. And then let's say you have just create a new page, you really need some engagement, you need a lot of followers, you can run an ad that's targeted at people who are likely to follow your page. So for whatever your specific goal is, there are specific campaign types that are beneficial for that. And again, when it comes to paid ads, there's obviously a lot more specifics that go into this than what I have time to cover. So if you want to learn anything more, I'm happy to chat about that after. But I want to make sure we have enough time here to talk about Google. So very first thing I want to talk about is the Google business profile. So this is just an example here of my lovely profile. How many people here have a Google business profile? Right, most of you. That is awesome. If nobody raised their hands, I'd be concerned. It's very important. And it's not to say if you don't have one, business is going to fail. But it's very important and critical to have one. So bear with me on technology here because I am going to try to pull up Google and hope it stays here, okay? Awesome. No internet. Okay, here we go. Awesome. So I am logged in here to my Google business profile. So I know a lot of you have a Google business profile, but there might not be, you might not be familiar with everything that you can do in here. And a lot of these things are very, very important. For example, how many people here regularly add updates on their Google business profile? A couple of you? Okay. This is a huge, huge factor for increasing your SEO. And I'm going to explain in the next slide why that is. So just kind of, first, let's get kind of used to the layout here so to cover some things. So adding updates, something that's very important. This button here, ask for reviews, takes you to a link that you can copy and paste and send it directly to somebody to leave a review. So if you really need to increase your reviews, make it kind of a part of your workflow, right? After you work with a customer, you send a thank you email, and you have that link to ask for reviews right there. Uploading photos, responding to messages, reading reviews, right? There's a lot on here that you can do, but a couple things that I just want to get you guys to think about right now when we're looking at this is one, adding updates, and then two, adding photos. Obviously messages, three, ask for reviews as well. So I'm going to talk about why that stuff matters. So again, bear with me here as I try to go back to my presentation. Everything working correctly. And I have a million tabs open.
We're not alone.
A lot.
Bear with me. Close this up while I get reset here. I really have a problem with tabs. Okay.
We were just talking about that.
And we are back. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about the Google algorithm. So the Google algorithm is how Google ranks your business versus others. So this is separate from Google Ads, and I'm going to touch on that right now with an example. So let's look at an example. So let's say I search Roofer Lafayette. So again, I am going to do this thing here. Perfect. Okay, cool. That was easier than I thought. All right, so are there any roofers in the room? I don't think I heard any, but if there were. So let's just say an example, right? You are a roofer. Somebody searches Roofer Lafayette. If you are a roofer in Lafayette, you want to rank highly. So let's talk about what that looks like. Right here, we look at sponsored. These are ads. These are a specific type of ad called local services ads. I'm going to touch on that in a bit. And then you see here, this is also sponsoring. That is also what's called a pay-per-click ad. So this is another search ad. So right here we have ads, which are not a part of the Google algorithm. Now here, we look at businesses. We see Roof Doctors of Contra Costa County is the first Google business profile to rank highly here. And then as we scroll down, we have Yelp, and then we have Lafayette Roofing, Freeman Roofing. So we have a couple highly ranked websites. And then up here, right in the businesses area we looked at, we have Roof Doctors, which is the highest ranked. Now, does anybody want to take a guess of why Roof Doctors is ranked the highest? And if you're a roofer, how do you rank? Shout it out.
The reviews.
No, actually. That ad update that I mentioned, I know. You would think, right? Google would be like, more 5-star reviews, I'm gonna rank them higher. It actually isn't. It's based on how active your Google business profile is. That is how Google ranks you. So when we talked about right here, this ad update section, I'm telling you guys, if you just do this a couple times a week, right, it's not gonna be overnight, because I'm sure there's some other businesses that are doing it, but this is gonna be the quickest way to rank higher on your Google business profile, which also connects to maps, as you saw there. It has like that local map. So,
But what are you putting in?
Yeah, what's this update?
Good question. So basically, this is what an update is. You click on Add Update, it's basically just a post. Now, here's what's weird. I know I'm gonna sound like a lunatic when I explain this to you. People don't read these. I mean, like, you can find them within your Google profile, but this isn't like on Facebook and Instagram when you're scrolling through. This is for Google, whatever weird, lab doctors are at Google that decide what rank business is. This is what they do it by. So if I'm gonna say here, just for my business, I'd say something like, looking to rank higher on Google, visit my website, and then you can include, learn more, buy, you can add photos. So basically, and it's the same thing with photos I talked about as well. That's the other factor, this add photos. So basically being active in your Google business profile is how you're gonna rank higher. So for any, and this is, right, not just roofers, all industries, the more active you are in your Google profile, adding updates and adding photos, that's how you are gonna rank higher on here. So that's for your Google business profile. Now let's talk about websites here. So Lafayette Roofing and Freeman Roofing. What do you think that they did? What are they doing well, do you think, that ranks them higher versus, like we saw Roof Doctors there, but why is Roof Doctors not ahead of these here? Any ideas? Just shout it out.
SEO.
Yeah,
SEO.
SEO, content, keywords, awesome. All correct. So let me pull this back up here. Awesome, I'm getting better at that. Okay, so basically, right, how does Google rank my industry? It is going to be on the keyword content on your website. So does anybody have a blog on their website where they upload articles? Awesome. That is a great thing to do. It's not just so, you want to make it so your potential customers can read about what you offer, but it's really important for ranking highly on Google. So there's kind of like a weird science to it of you want something that is very readable, and you don't want to just say, if you're a roofer, you don't want to post an article that just says Roofer Lafayette, Roofer Lafayette, Roofer Lafayette. That's Google flags those. They do know when things just aren't readable. So you want to have readable, engaging content that has those keywords. So that's one strategy to do it. Another one is creating subpages within your website. You can even have them like invisible, which is really weird, right? Why would you create a page that no one sees? But it does increase your SEO. So it's gonna help you rank higher the more content you have. So the big lesson I want everybody to know here about SEO, and I know it's annoying that how it's like this, it has nothing to do with the quality or popularity of your business. It has nothing to do with how many 5-star reviews you have. Now that is good for people researching businesses to know you have a lot of 5-star reviews, so I'm not saying reviews don't matter, they absolutely do. But for ranking on Google, it actually does have nothing to do with how great of a business you are. Google doesn't know this guy is a better roofer than that guy, or that guy has a better Yelp rating. None of that actually matters with SEO. Okay, cool. So now let's get to the paid ads section. All right, so does anybody here run Google Ads or work with an agency that runs Google Ads?
My team does, but I don't know anything about it.
Okay, awesome. So let's learn some stuff about it. Okay, so here, this was another one of those sponsored posts, right? We saw a roofer, and when I searched Roofer Lafayette, they were targeting that keyword in this location, so that's why they showed up. So basically, PPC ads, which are these website links, is basically you're targeting specific keywords, you're targeting an area, and you're targeting an audience. So, right, if I am a roofer in Lafayette, I want to target keywords like roofer Lafayette. I probably will want to target, help finding a roofer or any kind of search that makes sense to really have my website, pop up at the top of. And now in terms of what keywords to use, unfortunately, there is a lot of research involved. That's why people like me have a job, because there's a ton of time and energy that goes into analyzing keywords, but basic principle is you're targeting specific search terms in a specific region, and like specific audience as well. So let's say, I really want to work with the highest of high-end homes, and I'm a roofer, right? I want to make sure it's, really going to be worth my time. So I want to, really set the income level that minimum 250,000 plus, right? I only want to target those people. So you can factor that in as well. So now, similar to Facebook ads, right? How much does it cost? This, more than anything else, is really dependent on the industry you're in. So unfortunately for realtors, I know we have some realtors in the room, you might know this, that there's a lot of people in the Bay Area who are realtors. So basically, there's a lot of real estate agents that are advertising on Google, so that hurts you because how you rank within your ads, it's basically like a bidding system. So your minimum budget has to be a lot higher in a lot more crowded industry. So if there's a lot of people advertising on Google, it gets more expensive. So if you're in a much more kind of niche industry, it can be a lot more affordable. So suffice to say, I get asked a lot, how much should I spend on Google ads? I can do some research and tell you about it, and I'm happy to, but there's no off the top, this is a good budget for Google ads, because it really depends. It can be, $600 a month can be great and get you great results for your business. You might need $2,600 a month to really get the kind of traction you need. So it does vary based on your industry. Right, a lot of factors to consider. Audience behavior is a big one. So this is kind of linked to that idea of search volume, right? How many people are searching on Google? And also, are you in a business that is very Google reliant? So I'll give an example. For restaurants, like some people search out, restaurants near me and they kind of research through. But a lot of people find out about restaurants, maybe scrolling through their social media, maybe for their friends. It's not the most Google reliant as opposed to a plumber. Most people, something happens, bathroom's flooding, oh no, what do? You go onto Google, find a plumber near me, help, plumber, save me. So basically, anything that's really dependent on Google search as the audience behavior, that is certainly something where Google pay-per-click makes sense. And then look at goals as well, right? So it's simple ROI. If, let's say, one customer for you, gives you $5,000 of revenue, you spend $1,000 a month in Google ads, get 3 clients a month, that's great ROI. So that's another thing to consider. And then the last thing I want to touch on here with Google ads, and this is one of the newer types of ads, is called Google Local Services ads, which is only about 3 or 4 years old. Does anybody run Google Local Services ads or know what they are? And no, don't be ashamed, a lot of people aren't familiar with it. But basically what Google Local Services ads are, the big differentiator is they're not available to every industry. But if you are in any of these home services, so it makes sense, right? Your local services, your plumbers, your electricians, your handyman, they're going to be in it as well. And a lot of professional services. So there's a long list here. We can chat later to see, if you're kind of business that would qualify, right? A lot of different professional attorneys, some finance. It just expanded. Real estates can average on Google Local Services now. I know daycares and preschools. So it has an expanding list. Basically, what Google Local Services ads are is when we saw in the example there with roofers. Remember, we saw these Google Guaranteed at the top. Those are different. It's run through basically a different Google ad platform than the websites that we looked at. They are targeting specific services. So for local services ads, you're not targeting keywords, you're targeting the service that you provide. So if you're an electrician and it's electrical wiring is the service that you want to target, you basically run that through Google Local Services. And this process is a lot different as well, because you have to get what's called, quote unquote, Google Guaranteed. So you basically have to submit your insurance to Google, information about your business for them to check off, yes, this is a responsible business. So we'll give them the Google Guaranteed sticker, and when they run ads, they appear at the top of Google. And the difference is here, as opposed to the Google pay-per-click ads, right? Your budget is based on how many people click on your website, on your ad. This is based on a cost per lead system. So the idea is every time somebody presses the call button or sends you a message, that is what your budget goes to. So if you're in a local service, and your goal is, I need my phone to ring more, I want people to really call me for jobs, that's really what my goal is, local services may be a better fit for you than Google pay-per-click. So basically, that's kind of the ground level of what Google local services ads are. Again, all this stuff, like I could talk for hours about this stuff, but I'd sound like an alien, so I'm not gonna do that. But basically, that's kind of the essence of ranking on Google. So this concludes my presentation, yeah. So.